Hello, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. Sorry we're a couple minutes late getting started. We're real excited today to have Brett Zucker on the line. He's our Chief Technology Officer, and I'm Mike Matteo, SVP of Strategic Alliances, and we're really introducing iAPPS 5.0. iAPPS 5.0 is not only available in the market, but is live in our software as a service environment. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about Bridgeline, and then Brett's going to talk about the iAPPS 5.0 release and what it does for our existing customers, potential customers, and then we'll get into a demo and have a Q&A session as well. For Q&A, you can enter your questions into the window. You should have a window on your screen for questions. So feel free as we go along to enter questions as we go, and then we'll collect those and read those back and answer them. So first, a little bit about Bridgeline. Bridgeline is the developer of iAPPS, and iAPPS is a web experience management platform, and we also, unlike other software companies, provide related services to make sure projects is successful. We have over 2,000 customers and well over 5,000 iAPPS-driven websites and web stores. I've got a lot of industry awards, and we're really most proud of 94% customer retention rate, which is really high. Bridgeline in general has been in business for going on actually 13 years now, and also we're a Microsoft Gold partner as well. We have 10 offices in the U.S. So if you think about Bridgeline, you really look at us in two ways. One is iAPPS, which is the digital engagement platform, and iAPPS is made up of 4 modules, and those modules are built from the ground up. They're meant to work together, to exchange information. What happens in one is available to the other, and it's very, very powerful suite. They're all built for Bridgeline. So you have a content management module, e-commerce analyzer for really advanced analytics and predictive analytics, as well as email marketing. And then we combine that, and what's really makes success for customers is with interactive services. So where a typical software company would maybe use a network of partners, and those partners, the best partners, may do a few engagements a year. Bridgeline is doing hundreds of engagements a year. So we have great experience in the full life cycle of interactive services, everything starting with user-centered design to full website and store development, integration with operational systems, as well as post-launch services like site optimization, search engine optimization, store management, and things like that. And if you look at iAPPS, iAPPS again is built from the ground up. It's built on a Microsoft technology stack, so we've got .NET and SQL as the platform, and that underlies everything. And it's really standard Microsoft technology. So what's great about that is that, there's nothing special you need to run iAPPS. You just need a Microsoft environment. On top of that sits our framework, and this framework's an extension and allows common functions to be extended into not only modules that we deploy to market, but also custom applications, things like managing a user or workflow or versioning or globalization and internationalization. Those things are available to the modules, and the modules use those as well as custom applications. We serve a variety of customers, and of course, it's all about providing kind of this 360-degree view of what's happening in your digital world. Everything from what's happening in your site and driving engagement on that site, information on social and pushing of information back and forth. Of course, mobile. Almost every site we do now is responsive design, which adapts to the size of the device that you're looking at, and of course, in email as well. And iAPPS sits at the center to understand what a customer is doing, how they're engaging in each one of those areas, and then how information, whether it be products, content, images, can be leveraged to that audience to drive engagement. We offer, pretty unique in that we offer our product either as a software as a service or perpetual, and it really depends on the customer and what the need is. What's great about this is it's the exact same software. So we have customers that maybe have started in SaaS because they had a time to market issue and they wanted to get up quickly, but eventually wanted to stand up their own environment internally, and we were able to accommodate that. And it's simply moving the software from SaaS into perpetual same exact software running in both those environments. Serve, very, very happy and proud to be a part of the digital strategy of many great customers. These are just a few of those in a variety of industries, everything from online and e-commerce to healthcare, manufacturing, education, consumer products. So you name the industry, we've got customers in those segments. And now I'm going to turn it over to Brett, and he's going to talk about what's new for iAPPS 5.0, and then also get into a demo as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mike. And let's go ahead and switch over here. And I want to thank everyone as well for your time today. We have a lot of new features and functions and whatnot that are part of iAPPS. And so for us, we're really focused on providing marketers with better tools to understand visitor behavior, to be able to manage through that, manage to deliver more responsive, more targeted content. And really what we're focused on is those use cases around marketers being more successful. And with version 5, we've got a lot of new functionality that we think you're going to love, and we've gotten some tremendous feedback on. Now, the mix of folks on the phone today, some are new customers, some are existing customers. So we're going to go through quite a bit on the background of iAPPS, but also really get into the meat of what's new with our version 5.0. So starting with just an update here, and sorry, I see there might be a toolbar here. Let me get rid of that. But the focus for us really is on redoing the interface. That was a major initiative for us, right? Here was the existing 4.8 interface, right? We had a dashboard and commonly viewed actions and whatnot. We've completely streamlined that. You'll notice that we're going to move to mega menus, right? So it's easier to navigate across products. You'll see touch-friendly controls. If you're on an iPad sitting on a train doing your work, excellent. We can accommodate, and you've got core functionality that works on a tablet, making sure that you can take care of your content when you need to. We've also changed the controls and the types of activities and functions that you're monitoring, and all of this is customizable. Right, so we've really done a lot of usability testing. Mike talked about the fact that we do professional services on top of our platform because we know how to take advantage of its capabilities. Well, we sort of drink our own Kool-Aid with that in the R&D world, right? We have usability experts, and we've gotten some tremendous feedback across our existing customers and even from potential customers about the capabilities and the interface of our product. And so here you'll see a much, much friendlier cross-channel interface across all 4 of our products. Continuing that trend, and we're going to take a look at this in the demo. I just wanted to highlight some of these things in this PowerPoint before we start taking a look at the actual product. But along with the overall UX enhancements and improvements, we have content libraries and information and data libraries with folder structures and content. We've really revamped this, and we did a lot of usability testing. We did a lot of we had a lot of conversations with our customers about what sorts of tools they're used to on the web. And Dropbox, Gmail, and some others really started to come out. I mean, we all know that they're ubiquitous technologies at this point, and their interfaces are very known. People are used to them. And you'll see that we've started to really hone in our controls to be very familiar with what you're using today outside of iAPPS. Now, as far as persuasive and dynamic content, and here's really where we start to really separate ourselves and shine. With the plethora of applications out there, the plethora of devices that are out there to consume data and information, and it's not us saying this, we all get it. It's not it's not an epiphany here around that the mobile devices are really taking over and taking a stronghold now that they've standardized on platforms and open standards as far as the web technologies. But it really gives us leverage now to take advantage of the real estate on these smaller, more mobile devices. And one of those ways is through responsive design. So you're going to see how we take care of management of content geared towards responsive design. That's one way we're going to target, because use cases may be very different based on the device that the user is actually accessing it from. So being mobile friendly on the admin side, as well as handling the distribution of content and targeting visitors with the right message, a huge push in our version 5. Now, we also continue our enterprise agreements with some folks. We've had enterprise agreements with Akamai on the web acceleration, CDN side, but here we're adding another enterprise partner in Clay Tablet. So as our customer base expands globally and as the world grows in that sense, iAPPS is growing with it. We have the capability now to plug into all of the top language translation services, all through iAPPS. So there's no need to leave the iAPPS administration. All of the menus, features, functions are all embedded within iAPPS, but through our partnership with Clay Tablet, which acts as that black box to connect all of the third-party language translation providers, well, now we can do that seamlessly. So as part of our standard workflow, having offline language translation done is seamless and comes out of the box with iAPPS. Now, we've also heard a lot from our customer base, hey, we want to make it easier to kind of build templates, right? And there's a balance here. Some of us have fared on the side of, you know what, you don't want people messing with that branded design consistency. Right? There's a lot of money, effort, time, value spent really driving a single consistent user experience. And quite often, marketers or even content authors or contributors don't understand the background to that and don't understand some of the content things that they're doing and how that it might affect the user experience. So historically, way back when, we had all sorts of drag and drop controls, and we kind of pulled back from that and said, okay, we're going to lock down the interface because history has proven that 90% of the templates don't change within the first 12 months. Right? You want things to settle. We've done our due diligence up front. You're really not targeting and changing a lot from a design perspective, so we haven't had that modification. But by the same token, marketers, there are needs for marketers to be able to change, maybe add some containers of information on a page, not break the branding and design consistency, but to be able to modify some things and move some things around, right? So a little bit of flexibility within a defined user experience, and that's what we've created. We've got that perfect balance between design and brand consistency and the flexibility for content creators, and that's something that we'll talk about as well. And finally, another exciting enterprise agreement and partnership that we're announcing is Brightcove. So the video content and video hosting service provider. We are enterprise partners. Again, here you'll see the user experience is embedded within iAPPS. We're not going out and managing everything in separate applications, right? The goal with iAPPS is to give marketers a seamless user experience with use cases that span across all of our products. Right? And the way we do that is by pulling in the information from outside sources, including, Clay Tablet or Brightcove, and pulling them into the iAPPS user experience. So you're now able to connect out to your libraries and manage the presentation of these videos right through the iAPPS administrative interface, now thanks to our Brightcove enterprise partnership. So, as Mike mentioned, I'm sure there are going to be questions. We are absolutely going to get to a Q&A at the end, but I wanted to spend the majority of the time actually walking you through all of the features and functions within the iAPPS 5.0 release. So let's go ahead and start here for a second. Here's our fictitious lighting company demo site, right? So one way that we target content is through this notion of responsive design. And if you're not familiar with that concept, it's basically saying that based on screen size, the content and the positioning, the layout, the information is going to adjust. Right? So if this is a desktop version, as I move my screen to simulate you know, a mobile device, right, in the width, you'll see that the menus become touch-friendly, right, all of those different things. And if I look at it again, full screen, it's going to show me some different content, the layout changes, and that's primarily driven because the content, the use cases, the bandwidth, the screen size, all have an effect on what should we show to that end visitor. And so responsive design allows us to do that. And you'll see that with our demo site here, we are a full e-commerce product. We are a platform. We are not a CMS with a shopping cart. We are a full e-commerce platform, and we are the front-end e-commerce provider, exclusive agreement with UPS. And so we provide end-to-end e-commerce solutions, which include everything from the catalog to dynamic faceted search results, right? Being able to drill into product categories and deal with, you know, carts and wish lists and comments and ratings and reviews and, you know, social sharing and all of those pieces. We're an order management system, so we can deal with back orders, we can deal with the payment providers, we can deal with subscriptions and recurring orders. We tie into back office ERP for accounting and all of those things. Right, so here's an example of our catalog and the presentation of that. And of course, we have standard content templates. We have, you know, libraries for documents and all sorts of different areas. And I won't spend too much time there. You know, the focus for us is, and today's demonstration really is, to get into some of the more targeted, persuasive content and how we reach that right audience. Right, we have all the bells and whistles with WYSIWYG editing and all those workflows and all those capabilities. But some of the things that I wanted to highlight for you today have to do with the dynamic driving of persuasive content. And that first way is through responsive design. The second way we target content is through what we call audience segmentation. So right now, I'm going to reset my cookies here, and you'll see it's showing me products that it thinks I might be interested in seeing. And the way it's doing that is it's telling me that I'm part of what's called the default user segment. The system doesn't really know anything about me. Right? It's showing me the page that's for the default audience segment, and these are the products that it's showing me. Now, however, if I do a search on Google for indoor lighting, let's say, and come to this page, well, now it knows a little bit about me. Right? It knows the first page I came to. It knows what search terms I've looked at. You know, it may know what pages I navigate to. And based on that now, it's bucketing me into what's called a user segment called indoor cold. Now, I've just made up these audience segments based on a simple criteria of this was my landing page. You know, the indoor lighting was my landing page, which means I'm probably interested. I saw something somewhere, landed on this page. I'm probably interested in indoor lighting. If I go back to the home page, you'll see the products it's showing me actually are all focused now on indoor lighting. That's because I'm part of a different audience segment. If I go ahead and remove everything it knows about me, it's going to go right back to the products, the default products that most people are likely to be interested in, or me as a company owning Bridgeline Lighting, what it is that I want you to see. And so again, there's really two focuses for us from a dynamic content generation perspective and a targeting perspective. The first being responsive design, and the second being audience segmentation. And both of these are really managed through the administrative interface by marketers without any technology involvement. Now, I do want to show you a little bit more about responsive design, and here's an example and how you target content. So taking a look at the UPS store. Now, all 4,500 UPS stores are powered by iAPPS. And you'll see here that when you come to a specific store, for instance, you'll see you're targeting products and services, right? There's content that's relevant here. I might want to track a package. These are things when I'm coming to the site that are probably more likely. And that content is shown, and the branding images and the large tiles are all shown because those are the use cases that are relevant to the visitors on a desktop. If I go into the mobile version, well, what are typical folks who are accessing this on their iPhone or their Android device looking for? Well, most likely I've got a package in my trunk. I'm trying to find out what's the closest UPS store that I can drop this off at. So I maybe need directions. I might need to, hey, are they open? Maybe I want to call them because I didn't have enough packing materials. Will they be able to pack it for me? I have a question. Right? These are the common use cases, and look what content is right up front, touch-friendly on top. Right? That is the, to me, this is a great example of driving content and information based on the use cases, based on the device that is accessing that content. And again, with responsive design, you have one single page you're managing through an administrative interface, so you're not managing multiple sites like an M.dot site. You're not dealing with multiple domains and URLs, minimizing your SEO impact. Right? So these are the things that we manage and help customers with on the iAPPS side. So let's go ahead and take a look. And I'm going to log into iAPPS here. And we're going to highlight a lot of the things that we talked about in that PowerPoint so you can really get a feel for how the application works. So for those of you that are not familiar, the new or potential customers here, well, it's a single sign-on system, cross-browser, cross-OS. I'm in Chrome on a Mac. And when I log in, I'm logging into all of iAPPS, but starting in this case with Content Manager. Now again, I mentioned the touch-friendly interface, right? The changing, the ability to customize and change what containers are available to you on your dashboard. A lot of new information organized much better. You'll take a look at the mega menus, right? Organized now. Here are your libraries, engagement tools with your visitors. We separate all the developer items. Even on the administration side, right? So we've really gone to this mega menu concept across all products. So if I go into any one of our products, you'll see I have the ability to navigate from anywhere in one application to anywhere in another application. Right? The use cases are seamless across the products. Now, so is the navigation. As far as those folks that are familiar with iAPPS, here are content libraries, and we've made some big strides and modifications on the UX side of things. So of course we have our categories and the content within those categories. So here we're just looking at content blocks, right? All the different libraries, images, files, and media and all that, they all pretty much work the same. But when I select a folder, just like Dropbox and Gmail, I'm getting my action items, right? If I select a row, again, I'm getting my action items of what I can do based on my selection. And even if I scroll, you'll see we have our sticky menus now that allow us an indication that there's more up top that will allow us to access the controls no matter how far I scroll, right? Being able to show as many, I could have hundreds of items in here, thousands. Being able to scroll and still get access to your menus is a big usability enhancement. So we've made it much friendlier. We've made it, not that we weren't before, but we've really gone above and beyond and taken the CMS administrative interface to a whole new level. Now, if you're not familiar with our editing capabilities, we have what we call Site Editor. And this is our navigational editing that allows us to really drill into anywhere on the site. And so I can come in and I can go to a particular content page, and I can edit this block of text inline, right? Through our context menus. In the font, I see where word wrap happens. Everything is based on styles, right? Back to that whole keeping that brand and design consistency. Integrated translations inline. All of these things are features that come standard out of the box with iAPPS. And that goes the same for navigation too, right? I get context menus for navigation that allow me to make modifications and changes. And at any given point, I can make all my content changes, add some page notes, submit that into workflow or for translation, all embedded within this UI. Now, really, I talked about the two primary functions around targeting content, and there's some new functionality within 5.0 that I'm excited to share with you that shows off that power. Now, remember the UPS example with dynamic content and what's being shown based on screen size? Let's take a look. Right now, we're editing the desktop, right? And we've selected some products, right? I might want to select different products that might show up. But we also have up here, up top here, what we call page segments. Right now, I'm looking at the default desktop segment. But if I drill in, I have the capability to say, and these are all just the baseline devices and audience segments. You can have whatever ones you want. These are the ones that ship out of the box, but you can add yourself to target other specific resolutions or devices. But watch how easy it is for marketers. No technology understanding necessary to say, hey, you know what? What is this going to look like on an iPhone? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, this is with responsive design and device emulation, we can now see how this is going to look. You say, hey, wait a second. You know, the use case is just like with UPS, the UPS store. Might be different. You say, okay, great. Not only do I want to see what that looks like, but let me change the content specific to this device. So for those folks accessing this on a smartphone or mobile device, well, maybe I want to it tells me I'm editing the smartphone view. Maybe I want to come in, change the products that are shown, change the content, change CSS, information, whatever it is that I want to change. I can always preview that and look at what exactly how this is going to look on that device, and then go ahead and save it, right? So now as a marketer, I have the ability to manage based on that device through in-context previewing. Right here in line, I can change all that content and target it for specific devices. Now what also I can do is by audience segmentation. So when you think about the audience segments, and I showed you a simple example where I did a search for indoor lighting, well, I can go in as a marketer as well, and I can come and manage my audience segments very easily. And you'll see here that we have technical data. Maybe the criteria for a particular audience segment might be that they're coming from a specific state. Maybe they visited a specific page, right? So in my example, I said you had to come to the indoor lighting, or maybe that was your first page was the indoor lighting. Or maybe it was the referring site. Maybe it was keywords that you searched on. Maybe it was paid versus organic search, right? You want to understand how you're converting with regards to SEO versus SEM. And of course, if you're familiar with iAPPS, you know, our watched events. Being able to tag actions in the system as a marketer without IT or technology involvement is huge. Now this is, you know, you start to think about this and look across this and say, hey, you know what? This is actually pretty powerful stuff. But the key to this is that it's manageable. We're not asking you to score 9,000 pieces of content across 30 different metrics that becomes completely unmanageable. You have the ability to create these audience segments very simply. Now, it's created simply, but the audience segmentation functionality is very powerful. And when I come back into Site Editor now and go into page segments, actually before I do that, you'll see we have our overlays. Right, I went into Site Editor from Content Manager and I was in edit mode so I can make content changes. When I went into Analyzer and back to Site Editor, I'm in what's called overlay mode to give you the click densities, right? So here you can see, for example, that only 2% of people are clicking on this area. Well, that's a lot of real estate to be spending on something that's not grabbing anyone's attention or calling to action anything. So go ahead, switch back to edit mode and make your content changes and swap these out or do something different with regards to this area so that you get much better bang for your buck with that real estate. Now, coming back to, sorry for the tangent there, but coming back to the page segments, not only can I target device, you know, responsive design is one path, but I mentioned the audience segmentation. Well, I can actually do the exact same thing and say, you know what? I want to see what the indoor lighting audience segment is going to see, right? Now I have the ability to target by device and/or audience segment and change the content with device previewing right here in line as a marketer. It's a phenomenal way, an absolutely manageable way to really target content, help drive conversion without any technical or IT involvement. And those two things are huge: manageable and without IT or technology involvement. You know, our use cases as developers of iAPPS are, we build this for marketers, and we're always thinking of ways to improve upon the use cases and the user experience for our administrators, which are typically marketing folks. Now, so that's some of the stuff that we've been looking at. You know, a couple of other items from a 5.0 perspective. I talked about having, let me turn on Flash here for a second, but I've talked about having integration with Brightcove, right? So just like all of our other containers, you get a context menu. Well, we now have integration with Brightcove, and you'll see here that by inserting a video, it is pulling all of my Brightcove information right here in the UI. So if I want to choose a playlist or choose a particular video or anything like that, I can do that right here in line, right? And it's pulling in all my Brightcove information right there. I don't have to go out to Brightcove, cut and paste some, you know, video ID or something like that. All of that management is done right here in line. Now, coming back to some of the other new features and functions within 5.0 that I've mentioned, we also have template building capabilities. So back to that balance between the user experience and brand and design consistency, married with the flexibility of templates for marketers and content contributors to be able to manage this themselves. And that's what we've done with our template building. So here you'll see, you know what, they don't have a choice when they're managing content in the templates. The header works the way it works, right? The logo is where it is. The header navigation, search, these consistent elements, the design of those, all embedded, right? Those are things that we've locked down. And we can lock down whatever you want. We can open whatever you want, right? But it's that balance between brand and design consistency and flexibility for the marketers. And here you'll see, just by dragging your toolbox, you can add new containers. You can, you know, drag and drop and remove containers, and it makes it very easy for you to do that through simple drag and drop. So you can add and move containers. This list is just an example. We can even add custom containers and custom controls that are just for you, to make it easier for you to manage your content from within Site Editor. So not only do we have a phenomenal user experience out of the box with iAPPS, but we have the ability to customize the user experience for you, the marketers, the administrators, the content authors and creators, by adding your own controls, changing navigation, changing the way Site Editor works, giving you information that other tools simply can't. And so we've got a very flexible administrative interface because we want you to use the system too. And so just like we're working with your end customers and your visitors to provide the best user experience, we're doing the same thing with our professional services to provide you as our target audience with the best iAPPS experience. Now we also have, on the content side, you know, I talked about some of the Clay tablet and multilingual capabilities. So we've always had multi-site management, multilingual capabilities, all of those things. What's new with version 5 is when you're going into your site variants, right? Maybe it's an alternate language, multiple languages. And I go into, in this example, the French site, right? I can actually share all my content, images, pages, styles, everything. I could share all of that across site. But you'll notice something different when I went from the main Bridgeline lighting site to the French site. And some of the content and information is changing, including, you'll see here, master site updates. So maybe the English site is sort of that master site, right? You might have country or region owners who are responsible for the French, the German, the Spanish, the Chinese site, whatever it is. You now have the ability to see, in this case, hey, what's going on with that master site? I'm the French site owner. Let me see what's going on, right? We can also go the other way where you can update maybe the English page and send it through a workflow across all the language variants and say, you know what, don't send this live until all of the site and the content across all of the sites has been translated so that you don't get out of sync. So you can have that push method in that regard. But you also have this pull method to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not inheriting everything, but let me go see what's been updated. Right? I can come in here and I can see that this About Us page has been updated. Okay, well, I'll select that. Maybe I can see what content, files, images, other things. I can view to see if that's something I want to bring in. Or in this case, with our integration with Clay Tablet, maybe I'm going to bring this site in or bring this page in. So I'm going to say, you know what? I want to bring this into this particular section of the site. Now, at this point, I can import that, and I can do my manual translation or anything that I want to it. Or I now have, with Clay Tablet integration, within the iAPPS user interface, I have the ability to import this content and submit it through that third-party language translation provider. Think translation.com, Lionbridge, you know, all these third-party global translation organizations. I can now submit that for translation. And here you'll see, right, again, we are now connected to outside translation providers, and I can create a new or add this particular page to a batch of other pages I'm already translating, or create a new batch. What do I want to change, or what do I want to translate? You know, default languages, of course, are going to come up. But here you'll see now we've got the capabilities to manage this within the workflow and user experience of iAPPS. And when I look at my authoring activity, you'll see all that translation, you know, what's ready to be sent. What did I send for translation? What have I received back? Are there any errors in notification? Right? All of this is managed through the UI of iAPPS, but connected out through Clay Tablet and that partnership to all the top language translation providers. So you don't have to log into external systems. You can just create your English content, let the system do its work, and let the content translations come back for you to then post. Right? All automated through the interface of iAPPS. So that's a lot of the key functionality and differences with iAPPS 5.0. For those folks that are not familiar with iAPPS in general, I just want to take you through a few minutes of an overview of some of the core functionality across our products, and then we're going to open it up for a Q&A. Now, I did mention that we are a full e-commerce platform. Let me sign out and log in with somebody who actually has permission to all of our products. And so if I go into commerce, you'll see we are a full e-commerce platform. Like I mentioned, we have everything from product information management, managing of a dynamic facet-based catalog. We deal, like I said, all the order management system functionality, orders, returns, payments processing, back orders, product ratings and reviews, connections to ERP for order management and for accounting information, shipping confirmations, all of those things. We are fully global, so we have access to multiple warehouses, you know, global distribution centers and all of those different pieces. We have the capability of having distribution centers globally with geographically dispersed distribution regions. Right, so all of that is functionality that's out of the box. We are multilingual, multi-currency, international shipping. We have with our enterprise partners like CyberSource, we have the capability to do global address verification services as well as VAT tax calculation. So fully internationalized, full e-commerce platform. And of course, you know, we have our marketeer products. So this is all about email campaigns. You know, we are an email service provider, but integrated into iAPPS. And so if I have, let me find something with some data here. But if I come in and look at, you'll see here information around email campaigns of delivers, opens, clicks, and all that kind of stuff. And that's all well and good. But here's where you start to see the power of a truly integrated platform, right? We're not, remember, I'm navigating across all of our products here, right? I'm not exiting out. I'm not logging in with different accounts to different systems that work differently, that where I'm cutting and pasting. You know, I've moved seamlessly between Content Manager, Commerce, Marketeer, Analyzer, Site Editor, right? The UI is simple to use, powerful, and consistent with marketer use cases. And from here, you know, let's talk about emails, right? If you're familiar with Constant Contact and whatnot, you're familiar with setting up emails where you have all the message properties. But let's look at our connection with Analyzer. I talked very briefly inside audience segmentation about watched events, these actions or triggers that you're looking for to drive out of your users or visitors. And you'll see here, I don't have to cut and paste. I can just connect directly from here to Analyzer. Why am I sending this email? Well, really what I want them to do with this is to buy something, download something, sign up for this newsletter, right? I can track everything from this email against these watched events without cutting and pasting, you know, tags, without getting any technology involvement. When I create the email itself, well, look, it works just like Site Editor, right? Here's my content and information using my context menus, grabbing from the libraries. You'll see that the libraries of content, images, and files, guess what? Same content, images, and files as the CMS, right? They share all those common assets and repositories. When you want to decide who gets it, for those marketers, I can't see you raising your hand, although I guess maybe with the webinar we could, but I'm going to guess when I ask you the question of who out there is using an email system where they have to then go and deal with merge, purge on CSV exports and imports, that have to deal with their IT group to give them SQL exports of their database for all the emails that they want to blast, right? Those days are gone, right? The ability to filter as a marketer based on maybe which products you've purchased, right? Version 2 of a product that came out last year is coming out next month. Well, guess what? I want to email everyone who purchased version 1. Because guess what? I want them to buy the new version, right? Maybe it's that they haven't purchased in a while. Maybe they've submitted a specific form like the newsletter sign-up form. Well, let me reach out with a new newsletter or more information. Right? Maybe it's coming from, we have native integration with Salesforce. Maybe we've triggered certain watched events, those visitors that have done that. Right? You as marketers are creating these filter criteria yourself. And now you're able to review, schedule, check for spam, all that kind of stuff. And once your email is out, you can, of course, see all of the responses, right? I can view all of the results. I can see by each run of the campaign. I can see, you know, which, again, without technology, I now know that this email campaign triggered these watched events. I know how often people are triggering and taking the actions I want them to take. And I can even look at what we call the overlay, right, where I can see, just like in Site Editor, remember when I went in through Analyzer, I saw the overlay with the links of how many people clicked on it, right? So now I'm going to see that here as well. And you'll see that not only do I know that there's 22 clicks, but I can assign these clicks, whoever these 22 folks are, I can assign them to a new distribution list so that the next time I email them, I know a little bit more, and I can target them with even more specific content. Now, the flip side is not only where they clicked on the email, but where did they go to? And so here you'll see we have what we call view the landing pages. Well, we know what pages they're going to based on CMS. They're embedded in the text. We own the content. We own the front-end site. So we know what pages they're going to or what you're trying to get them to go to. We know the clicks from Marketeer, and we know the bounce rate from Analyzer. So it's pulling this information collectively together so you can say, hey, I have a high bounce rate. Well, guess what? Simply click and jump to that page in the editor, inside Site Editor, because there's a disconnect between the content of the email and the content of the landing page. So let's either change the email or go ahead and jump to that page in Site Editor and go ahead and change the content there to help promote and drive the conversion. Now, lastly, I'll spend 2 more minutes and then we'll open it up in QA. So if you have any questions, please feel free to go into the chat window inside GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar and go ahead and type those in. We'll get to those in just 2 more minutes. Now, as far as targeting that content, I just showed you how we're providing information to marketers around your email campaigns. But here's in Analyzer, and here's a secret sauce, right? Here's a way that you can really, as marketers, be given what we call actionable, intelligent recommendations about how to improve your conversion. So we've got all of the Me Too reports, right? Think Google, Omniture, Web Trends, all these different reports, path analysis, conversion funnels, all of these things. They're subordinated to what the real value add of our Analyzer product is and what we call goals and campaigns. These goals and campaigns allow marketers to, in plain English, say, you know what, I need to sell 100 LED light bulbs. A very real goal, something that marketers can describe in plain English, and it's something that our customers are using all the time. Well, that goal is then typically one of these 6 types, where you can say, hey, maybe it's download of CMS white paper. That's what Bridgeline uses. Or submissions of a webinar registration form. You all registered for that webinar and did a conversion for us. We're counting those, right? So maybe that's something we want to look at and convert against. So in this case, the purchases, the number of an individual product type. And so I can select that one and select the product type from commerce. I would select LED bulbs, and I need to sell 100 of them. And is that every day? Is it every week? By a certain date? Whatever it is. Right? So in plain English, I am describing my goals with my site as a marketer based on the actions that I'm trying to get visitors to do. When we look at what we call campaigns, it's an aggregation of all of the baits and drivers towards a common goal. So I can look at this and say, I might have SEO, SEM, I might have email campaigns from Marketeer that are going out. I might have Facebook pages that I've set up to ultimately drive. All of these in aggregate are a campaign that takes these drivers towards that common goal. And so what we do is we look at all of these baits and drivers and figure out how, in order to improve your conversion, do we change our content. And the way we do that is by looking at the details of these goals. So if I was trying to sell this individual lighting product, for instance, well, it's telling me that it's difficult to get to that product page. So it's, pun intended, analyzed all of the data and said, this is what we think your problem is. And the way it's analyzed that is by looking at all of the baits and drivers, right? All the email campaigns you sent out, what the conversion was, how many visits, how many clicks, all the external links that are out there, all of the search, SEO and SEM, direct traffic and external refers. All of these baits are driving towards these top landing pages. And then from these landing pages, here's the path analysis to get to those conversions and the frequency and all of that, right? Great data. Can get this data from Google, but most marketers, again, if you're raising your hand, how many of you out there actually do this stuff? Most don't, and the reason is because it's not easy. You don't know how to set it up. You don't know what to do with the data. That's not your fault. It's the system's fault, right? And what we've done is we've subordinated this data in favor of actionable, intelligent recommendations based on our interpretation of that data, not leaving it up to you to figure it out. And so if I drill in and look at this in more detail, you know, it's telling me that it's taking too many clicks to get to this particular product page. Now, we don't think you have a traffic problem. We think you're getting enough traffic. When they get to this page, we think you're converting enough. Just fine, no problem. But the problem is, once they get to that landing page, we need the ability to get them to this product page quicker. Right? It's taking way too many clicks from these top 5 landing pages. All your baits and drivers are driving them here, and guess what? They don't have calls to action. So go to these 5 specific pages and incorporate, product banners or other calls to action on these pages, these specific. Jump to Site Editor and go and make content changes to call out these LED bulbs, and you will improve your conversion against this goal. So we've taken the guesswork out of it and really used information across all 4 of our products to provide marketers with actionable, intelligent recommendations. And so here you see, again, just kind of wrapping up here, an integration between all 4 of our products. They were built from the ground up by Bridgeline to unify these typically 4 disparate categories using the same data set, using the same use cases and user interface, making it easier for marketers to be successful. And that's our focus, and that's our goal. So hopefully you got a good overview and a good mix between the products themselves, what's new in 5.0. At this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions and answers. And so again, if you have any questions, we've got a couple here, I'll answer them. We have about 5 minutes, so I apologize in advance if we don't get to your question on the call today. Then we'll certainly respond and email back to you with an answer or give you a call as well. So just kind of looking through here, there's some questions about the availability. Well, there's some on the new customers and existing customers, availability of 5.0. So 5.0, this is a release product. This is absolutely out in the wild, our current shipping version. So for new customers, this is the version that you would be put on. For existing customers, if you're in SaaS, you are already updated. If you're in a perpetual environment, you should talk to your project manager, account rep, about going through the upgrade process to make sure that you let them know that you want to be on the latest version. And they'll go ahead and schedule that for you. All right, next question is, I think I understand this. I'll paraphrase, so I apologize if it's not the correct question. But how can we use advanced techniques to drive targeted, persuasive content beyond just responsive and audience segmentation? So yeah, I think I understand that question. So of course, I think responsive and audience segmentation, unbelievably manageable and highly valuable. But if you do want to get into more advanced techniques, we have inside Content Manager, we have what we call tags. So we have the ability to tag assets through a hierarchy of a taxonomy, right? So you can create your own taxonomy, and you can tag images, files, pages, content, users, visitors, right? All of those folks with this taxonomy, and then you can have the system offer suggestions based on, maybe if I'm looking at a particular page that's tagged with, outdoor, well, maybe I want a listing of related products or related services or PDF documents or images that are also tagged with outdoor. So you can set up business rules around this tagging mechanism. I'm not sure I would call that more advanced, but it might be a little bit more dynamically generated, right, based on business rules versus manually generated with responsive design and audience segmentation. But I think you're going to get much more bang for your buck and be much better off really honing in on a smaller group of audience segments, but really controlling the user experience and the content that's delivered through responsive and through audience segmentation. All right, next question is this all one product, or are these 4 products? Well, I guess it's an all in how you look at it, right? Each product has its own functionality, right? But I think of them as one, right? It's a unified user experience across all 4 products. And so, in that sense, it is one product. However, I think what you're getting at is from a licensing standpoint, We do license Content Manager and Commerce individually, and we license Marketeer and our Analyzer product via what we call our Digital Marketing Suite, DMS. So really, it's one, two, and these two together, three products that we offer, and you can license them independently, and your sales rep or business development executive can certainly walk you through all of the information and data that's relevant. All right, we've got time for one more question. We'll focus this one on Analyzer. So how are the recommendations created, and can we use outside data to influence that? So I'll answer the second part first, which is, all of the data we collect is tagless, meaning you don't have to tag like you do with Google or anything like that. We're presenting all this information based on the fact that iAPPS is not only the platform that's collecting the information, but the platform that is producing the information that's shown to the visitor. And the way we can do that or the reason we can collect the data is because we're also creating and presenting it. So at the same time that we send this information to the customer or visitor, we're actually aggregating and storing that information. So Analyzer only works on iAPPS-based websites. Now, as far as being able to show you some of the secret sauce behind the scenes, I'll show you a couple of different things. We have all these different threshold metrics that our ISG or iAPPS Success Group works with. And so from here, you'll see that we have the ability to scan across there's like 90 different metrics. And our iAPPS Support Group, which is that white glove service after launch that helps you be successful with your site, they help put stakes in the ground with these benchmarks of what would be good for you compared to others in your industry, business size, what events you're tracking, all of that. And then they work with you month by month on an ongoing basis to help refine this. This data and this information is behind the scenes merged with all of your traffic and other data, all automatically to ultimately provide you with those what we call top opportunities or ways to improve on your goals. So obviously there's secret sauce in how we interpret that data, how the algorithms we use to churn that data in our warehouse and up against our own data cube. But we do all of that behind the scenes as part of Analyzer and as part of our product. All right, so it is 2 o'clock. I want to be sensitive to everyone's time. I really do appreciate everyone joining us here. Hopefully existing customers got some good information, new customers, same thing. If we didn't get to your question, I promise we will email you. We only have time for a few minutes of Q&A, but we'll certainly get back to you. And I want to thank everyone for your time again and wish you all a happy rest of your day. Thank you.